Newsflash, your period is your friend, not your enemy. So are you ready to biohack your period? AKA how to work with your menstrual cycle instead of against it. So first thing is to chart your cycle. So get yourself a little journal dedicated to your menstrual cycle. So I've got one with pictures of little boobies all over it, because surprisingly, Paper Chase didn't have a notebook with little vaginas all over it. So just start by documenting what happens each day of your cycle so that you start noticing patterning around things like mood, energy levels, cravings, stuff like that. Honestly, there is nothing more integral you can do to step into your feminine power than to understand your cycle and start living according to that. So next is to understand your menstrual cycle a bit like seasons. So menstruation is your winter, your follicular phase is your spring, ovulation is your summer, and the luteal phase is your autumn. Now, energetically, they genuinely directly correlate because women are cyclical beings. So when we recognize that our body works in cycles and we embrace that, we really start to optimize our lives. The next one, I personally feel it's best not to fast or drink coffee during days 1 to 3 of menstruation. Now, I am a massive fan of intermittent fasting. I think it's great, but we kind of need all hands on deck during those first few days of menstruation to give our bodies that little bit more help. And also, I just feel like we don't need heavy stimulants when we're on our period. We need more nourishing foods and just things that promote that inner winter, that hibernation time. So for me, it's about thinking about slowing down as opposed to speeding up. Now, we want to use our menstrual phase for things like rest and reflection and introspection. So we tend to see the first few days of our period as an inconvenience, but we don't want to do that. We want to utilize what it's offering us, which really is that opportunity for rest and reflection. Your follicular phase is the week after menstruation, and this is a great time for things like planning and decision making and really kind of starting to move out of your comfort zone. We're starting to really get moving in this stage. Now, you'll be releasing heaps more estrogen here. So if you are someone that lifts weights, which we all should be, this is a really great time for heavy weightlifting. And also it's the time in your cycle where you can afford to eat more carbs. Yay! So during your ovulation phase, nature is obviously priming your body to procreate, so you might feel a little bit more fruity at this time. I want you to utilize that to experience pleasure, because when a woman is turned on, she's powerful, and your pleasure directly affects everyone around you because your positive energy will transmute to everyone else. That's what energy does. Doing things for you is not selfish, it is necessary. So this time is usually when you'll feel at your most sexy, so it's a great time for getting out there if you're dating, or for doing things like creating video content or doing talks if you're in business. Yes, I'm ovulating as I record this. But basically, this is your summer, your time to really show yourself and get out there. Now, of course, it goes without saying that this is also the time where you can make a baby if you're planning that. So your luteal phase is the week before you menstruate. So you can use this time for starting to slow down a little bit. You can use it for details, focus, organization, and generally at this phase where you're starting to slow down, you'll be better off eating less carbs here as well. I want to go back to the menstruation phase for a moment, that first kind of 2 to 3 days of your bleed. During this point, honor your body by feeding it nourishing foods. Treat yourself to a hot cacao. Don't overdo it with exercise. Set and enforce boundaries and give yourself that permission to slow down, to really retreat into your inner winter. And lastly, don't treat the above as set in stone. Connecting back to your divine feminine means tuning into your intuition, the intuition, that absolute feminine energy. And for me, a true biohacker is someone that's not just about the tracking and the numbers and the statistics, but it's someone who can tune back in with that feminine energy of intuition to let that be the compass that guides you.